I'm going to tell you the truth about crime in Prescott. Now, I've always felt safe in the entire Prescott area, but since I mentioned crime in a recent video, I wanted to know what the actual stats, what the numbers were, and we're going to get into that. But first, I went looking for crimes that happened in Prescott, and I found one that made the national news for obvious reasons. A Prescott Superior Court judge, after a night out on the town and after drinking a little bit too much, was caught urinating in the bushes in the downtown square. That was just going to be a ticket, but then it was the husband who didn't listen to the cops and he got arrested. When the most famous crime in Prescott makes you laugh, you know it can't be that bad around here. Most of my personal crime stories are from back when I lived in LA. One thing I miss about LA are the car chases on TV. They happened every few weeks, it seemed like, and they were awesome. I mean, true crime happening in real time. Are they going to get away? Are they going to end up face down on the asphalt? The best one, of course, was the white Bronco. Prescott's boring compared to LA. I did some research on crimegrade.org for some crime maps of Prescott, and we're gonna dig into those specific areas inside of Prescott later. But first, here's a chart of crime in Prescott compared to other cities in Arizona. These numbers are from crimebicity.com. There's the population, then the crime rate, which is the crimes per 100,000 people, and then the score. The score is a percentage out of 100, with 1 being the worst in America and 100 being the safest in America. 50 is the national average. Higher numbers are safer. And for the record, Baltimore, Maryland scored a 1 out of 100. Chino Valley is the safest with a 90. The crimes per 100,000 people is low at 547. People out there are just chill. Not a lot of outsiders visit, and it's very rural. Prescott Valley is actually safer than Prescott with an 81. 995 crimes per 100,000 people. That means only 1% of the people there are going to be victims of a crime. Again, not a lot of people passing through, not a big tourist town, and some suburban neighborhoods. All of the crime seems to be centered around the shopping areas, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Prescott is at 73 with 1,454 crimes per 100,000 people. That means we're safer than 73% of America. We do have more tourists and more commercial areas. Now, for comparison, let's look at Scottsdale, which I would expect to be very safe. It's a very upscale, fancy neighborhood, but it's at 63 with over 2,000 crimes per 100,000 people. It's denser, there are more tourists, and it's more urban with more shopping and commercial areas. My biggest surprise is Flagstaff. I always thought Flagstaff was like a chill college town with some expensive homes, but it's only at a 50, the average in America, with 2,697 crimes per 100,000 people. I have no idea why that happened. I mean, are those college kids getting wild up there? Leave me a comment if you know. Here's what I expected for Phoenix. It's a 43. It's below average with over 3,000 crimes per 100,000 people. It's more than 3% of the people are going to be victims of crimes. Big city problems, big city crimes. Of course, the bottom of the list, with 1/3 the population of Phoenix, is Tucson. They have a 29. That means 71% of America is safer than Tucson. Almost 4,000 crimes per 100,000 people. Now, I don't know much about Tucson, but it's always scared me a little bit. I mean, leave me a comment if you've got a story to tell. Quick note. Hey, just wanted me to remind you to boop the like button and hit subscribe. Thanks. Now let's dive deeper inside Prescott and Prescott Valley with a crime map. Here's a huge map of the whole area with colors for grades. Now, the map makes it look like downtown Prescott and downtown Prescott Valley are the high crime areas. And in a way, that's true, but it's also a little bit misleading. The thing to keep in mind here is that these ratings are from crimes per resident. So where there's fewer residents, there might be a higher crime rate, even if there's not many actual crimes. We're not looking at the number of crimes, but rather the rate per residence. I mean, how many people live at Walmart? And yet there's a ton of people that go there every day, and there are crimes, but very few residents. And then out in the forest, there may be very few residents, so one crime can really make that rate go up. Williamson Valley is the darkest green, and it's very rural with large lots, so less residents per acre, and there's no commercial areas out there. Zooming in a little bit, it shows that more commercial areas are the higher crime rate areas. Here's an even closer look. Downtown is the highest crime rate area in both Prescott and in Prescott Valley. That's also where it's more commercial, although there's other factors visible here too. There's cheaper homes, smaller lots, more dense, more rentals, and all of those can contribute to a higher crime rate. And remember, even though there are higher and lower crime areas on this map, everything you see here in this entire area is safer than most of America. None of this is what could be called high crime. Northern Prescott seems to be safer than south of downtown. It really is the downtown area with the commercial areas and more rentals that have the higher crime rates. Farther south of downtown, it gets safer still. I mean, this is a really interesting map to look at. Moving east of Prescott, the Ranch, Yavapai Hills, and Stone Ridge are all relatively safe. They're very suburban areas. Moving into the commercial district in Prescott Valley, there's the Walmart effect again. No residents and lots of people, so the crime rate is higher. Moving into the more suburban areas, it gets safer. Going farther east shows that crime follows the highway and the commercial areas along 69. There are safer areas in Prescott. They are more suburban and farther from commercial areas. And if you spend time studying the map, you're going to find a lot of safer places to live. I have to reiterate, though, that everywhere here is safer than most other cities and literally safer than 3/4 of America. Prescott and Prescott Valley are safe places to live. Chino Valley is even safer. So as long as you don't live in the Walmart parking lot, you should be fine. And if you want more information about moving to Prescott, give me a call or text. Contact info, it's right there.